Eu tinha para aqui, David White Elk, e tudo aqui, ó, David White Elk, I can do what I'm doing. It's wonderful to be here today. It's not one of my favorite subjects, but you'll understand shortly. You see, where I grew up, I'm whiter than most of you folks. Oh, yeah, this is all white. You guys feel free to laugh or everything. I am whiter than most of you folks. However, to give you a little history, because I'm originally from Oklahoma, my grandfather married a white lady. Wonderful woman. Really knew how to cook turkey very well. Then my father married another white woman. And then when I was produced, I am 1/4 blood, still an enrolled member of the National Creek Nation in Oklahoma. How I ended up in Pennsylvania, that's easy. I was in the Army, I was over in Korea, I met a woman from Pennsylvania. She said, let's go back to live in PA. And I said, well, let's go to Oklahoma first and see the family. And we went to the res, I was in Tulsa, and then we enjoyed a week there. She said, now let's go to Northeast PA and then we'll decide where we're gonna live. And we came to Northeast PA and there was a deer in our front yard. And mountains everywhere because there wasn't too many mountains in the eastern part of Oklahoma. And we decided to stay up here and live. After we got divorced, I stayed up here with my kids, got remarried, and we are still in Northeast PA. However, I'm a member of the people of the Eastern Door. I hope this doesn't bother anybody. This is safe. That's all it is.
Should we turn the fans on?
They just go very slow. I think
There's a lot of great energy and spirit with it. Otherwise, the smoke would have gone out a long time. Pretty cool. Very cool. So growing up, married to a white lady, and that's what we call her, because my grandmother always wanted to be called other. Thanksgiving was big on us. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed it a lot. Turkey, ham, stuffing, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't until I moved to Pennsylvania that I realized something called the Mummers out of Philadelphia. They kind of dance like we did during a fancy show then. They're dressed just a little differently. What we did though is we told the oral tradition around campfires all the time. Oral tradition meaning when you read a story in a book, you have that book in front of you. I'm a collector of books, so the older the book, the better. You hold it up to your face and you smell it. And it's like, oh, beautiful. In our community, we still tell stories around a campfire. And we pass on the oral tradition to all of our children, our family. Today, I'm going to tell you how we learned the story of Thanksgiving. So I was at elementary school, and all of a sudden, it's funny, because I was actually a little darker skinned. My son and my daughter, they're the dark skin, kind of skinny for a little bit there. We would sit in school and we would say, okay, so the light skin kids come over here, and the dark skinned kids come over there. Okay, so we went, and I was always pushed to the light skin. And I was a pilgrim. And we did plays. And we actually, how many people here have ever put on an Indian headdress made of paper mache and little beds? Come on, Ellen. Be proud of that. I got no problem. This is actually, now I look like a pirate, don't I? This is actually the headdress of my people. It is, I'm not a principal, but I am a member of the Medicine Society, so that is why I'm eligible to wear something like this. So, and then we would have a play, and then the play would be, hey, you guys look funny. Children's Indian. What say you? You gotta remember, all right, that was the sixties and early seventies. I was still falling into the John Wayne movie. You know, hey, would you like to come on over and have dinner with us? Him say, you want dinner? Yes, yes, come on over, let's have chow. Okay, we bring food. Now, as you folks know it is in the Northeast in Massachusetts. It's the Narragansett tribe that was fighting with the Wampanoags. And the whites decided, the settlers, the pilgrims decided to get together with the Wampanoags and have a feast in celebration of both of them going against the Narragansett. I'm not getting here to give you a lesson, I'm here just to tell you about how I grew up and how I learned. Let's go back to that. What is that? That looks yellow and tall. Oh, that's a corn, I'm not gonna keep going back. That's a corn stuff. Corn, what is that? Let's tell you the story of the three sisters. Three sisters are corn, beans, and squash. Corn, beans, and squash, some of you shaking your head, you know this, okay?
Yeah.
They grow from the earth, from Mother Earth. And okay, so I'm gonna talk the way we normally talk, not, hey, grow, Mother Earth.
No grunting necessary.
That's right. So as the corn grows, the beans actually attach themselves to the stalk. And the squash grow outward, enabling the corn and the beans to grow without the weeds. The three sisters are very sacred to the native people here on the East Coast. What's sacred to me out in Oklahoma is McDonald's. So we did our little plays. We had a great time. We enjoyed it. I hope the people can hear me.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So that was cool. Let me tell you about the uncles. The native people in the West as well as the East, but mostly in the West, we hold our family tight to our chest. The uncles, the grandfathers, the grandmothers, the fathers, the mothers, all of them have stories to tell. All of them had something to say about something. Sounds like much like today, right? You also have your far rights and you have your far lefts. Now, unfortunately, we had an election recently, and next thing you know, everybody was giving their opinion. So imagine having that opinion spoken to you around a campfire, in which you were throwing sage, sweetgrass, cedar, and tobacco into the fire, and you're saying prayers to the Creator, and you just got done doing it in Meekie, a sweat lodge. So I thought it would be a great idea to ask one of my uncles what he thought about Thanksgiving. And that was a mistake. However, I've learned it a different way. I just need a 5-minute warning too, because I'll stand here and talk all day.
Okay.
All right. I learned it a different way, and I hold in my hand a prayer stick that we have taken to so many events, powwows, so many ceremonies. And it helps me to relate the truth to you folks without throwing my uncle under the bus. Because this is basically how they say it. Yeah, so Thanksgiving was genocide on our people. Yeah, imagine living on that land and somebody saying, hey, I want to live next to you, and that person doesn't look like you, doesn't talk like you, doesn't even smell like you, doesn't even eat the same food. Native people didn't know what salt pork was. They didn't really have a whole lot of that. But in the East, they had turkey, they had a handful of sweet potatoes from the South, and they had all kinds of other food, but what they didn't have was funny looking hats. Let's face it, the pilgrims wore funny looking hats, right? And they didn't have funny looking clothes. Yet they watched them, and the native people watched the pilgrims, and all of a sudden they decided to get together. And this is how that went. This is my uncle talking. All right. So, Indian, is that what you're called? Indian, native to New England. Oh, okay, can we live here? No, we did not talk about John and Williams. Yeah, I think it would be a great idea. I think it would be fantastic that you live here. I think we can all get along. You introduce us to that round animal there, you call what, a pig? Oh, okay, they didn't know what pig was. A wild boar, and not a pig. And then you folks, you have corn, that's great, I didn't even know what that was, let's share. They got along 16, 17, 16, 18, 16, 19, and all of a sudden 16, 20, they decided to have a meal. Come on, this is not. The meal was a feast Thanksgiving, saying that they're gonna go ahead and have a wonderful harvest, and we're gonna have a wonderful life together. I think this is a great idea, and she said, I think so too. We're friends. Couple of years later, 2030, Indian said, or Pilgrim says, so we've outgrown this area. We really like where you're living. If you don't mind, can we just get a little bit more land? Sure. Yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem. All right, I think that's a great idea. Okay, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna move out here. All right, cool. We're gonna move out here. Couple of years later, well, I like that land. Okay. All right, we'll give that to you as well, but our hunting land surrounds the outside. So we need you to stay right in this area, and maybe over there, Virginia, Massachusetts, Virginia, right there. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Couple years later, we've outgrown this area. Yeah, I know, we've heard the story of it. No, we really need to move. No, we've already heard the story. No, you don't understand. We want that land. And we want that land, and we want that land, and we want that land. Well, that's where our hunting grounds are. You can't have that. Yeah, we can, because we have something called a smoke hole. Anybody know what a smoke hole is? Muzzle loader. Yep. Next thing you know, bam. They take that land. Native people fight, Native people lose. All of a sudden, 100 years later, here we go. I want this land. I want all of New York. Now, at the time, there was no Thanksgiving celebration. No, they already had that. They already decided back in 1621, it was a good idea to shake hands with these folks, learn how to grow corn, and have a party. Okay, so you all know the rest of the history, right? Native people were pushed out of the East. They were pushed to Canada. A man called Tyonega from the Iroquois Nation, very proud chief, was pushed all the way to Canada because he fought for the British during the Revolutionary War. All of Iroquois was basically gone. They had some reservations up north, but that's about it. No one is celebrating Thanksgiving dinner. Because think about it, white man introduced Native to this, Native introduced them to this, and white man took their land, and yada yada. Around this time, around the campfire, my uncle decided he was gonna go ahead and start drinking. So now his story gets a little bit more belligerent. And he starts, oh, freaking white man, but he didn't say freaking, he said the other word. White man take this, white man take that. White men do this to us, white men do that to us, genocide, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Little old me and my brother say, well, what did the white man take from you? Now you gotta remember, my grandfather married a white woman. Kind of taken a little offense to what he's saying. And my father married a white woman who took a lot of offense for what he was saying. Although my father and uncle really didn't do much about that conversation, they still wanted to celebrate Thanksgiving according to how they grew up. Because if you remember, George Washington celebrated Thanksgiving, and you look in the history books, President Lincoln celebrated it, but at the time my parents were young, your parents were young, it was FDR who said, I'm going to create Thanksgiving. another white man in Washington. And he created it for what reason, folks? What, absolutely, so that they can go ahead and advance ahead the shopping week for Christmas. Yes. Native though, the native people in the reservation still were a little on the upset side back in the 40s and 50s. That Thanksgiving was a big deal to America. And then it made it worse. Because then they introduced pilgrims and natives to little children in elementary school. Now, I'm gonna tell you, how much time do I have? 5 minutes? What do you got? All day. All day. All right, so I'm gonna tell you about my life. I listened to my uncle, shook my head, and looked over to the side to see how much booze was gone from that bottle. Because I know the more booze gone from the bottle, the more his stories are gonna go way off course. I love Thanksgiving. I love it. I'm telling you right now, yeah, as white as I am to you folks, I'm telling you right now, yeah, I'm an enrolled member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, proud member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, and I love turkey. I love ham. I love mashed potatoes. My mom used to make the best, and I still can't believe it, the best stuffing with rice, wild rice. She got that recipe from my father, who got it from who? His father and mother from the reservation, and they cooked it. They cooked the wild rice, a little bit of sausage, had a great time. I enjoyed it to the point where I was able to comfortably come home and wear this at ceremony and powwow. Usually we don't even wear, usually I wear a nice clean pair of jeans and a little horn necklace made of corn stalk, on top of a corn stalk, and native corn. This is native corn that we actually grew and harvested. So, cool, this is what we usually wear. And we go and we celebrate Friendsgiving. We celebrate Thanksgiving, but not the day or the observance of the day, but the fact that we have family alive with us, standing right next to us right now. And those who are not with us, those who have crossed over, that's what we call those who have passed away, have crossed over. They're just on another journey. They're just walking down the road somewhere, having a good time. And then we celebrate the fact that we are alive and we have food on the table when there are people who don't have food on the table. We are thankful for so many things in Thanksgiving, other than the actual day of observance. Most of the native community, especially the radical folks, remember I talked a little bit about the far right, far left. You have them on both sides, and they're the ones who are calling it a day of mourning. So you're going to go ahead and you are not going to invite your family and friends over to your house, and you're not going to have a meal because you're in mourning for people who passed away and crossed over 300 years ago. Or are you going to look now and take the time you need to do whatever you need to do? Take that time with your family and friends to sit around the table and be thankful. You don't have to have turkey, you can have pizza. What did they have in the Peanuts Thanksgiving? Popcorn and jelly beans and toast. I love toast. It's not in that combination. So to wrap this up, yes, you're looking at somebody who ran a powwow 5 minutes down the road here at the Luzerne County Fairgrounds. I was actually the chairman of that powwow. Down in Benton, we ran a powwow at Camp Levine in Benton for 15 years. I go back home. My father, he crossed over last year. My mother crossed over last year. But I still go to Oklahoma every once in a while, and I still see that one uncle. He's in his early 90s, I believe now. And he no longer drinks, but he's still like poo-poos is what he called it. Poo-poo Thanksgiving, yeah. Well, you know what? You don't have to, but we observe it so that we can be here as friends with everyone that is here. So for me to come here and say, wow, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the political aspect of it, but I'm gonna spend more time talking about how I feel about it. It was an honor to even be asked about this. I just would like everyone here to understand that, yes, Thanksgiving is a tough day for Native people, but not as tough as 1898 Wounded Knee. Not as tough as the Indian Wars that happened in the latter part of the 19th century. Not as tough as losing your lands that were in your possession, actually in the Creator's possession. If you think about it, you don't own the land. For 10,000 years, they lived peacefully. And then 300 years later, they're gone on reservation. That's not because of Thanksgiving. That's because of manifest destiny. All right. Last but not least, on the subject of Thanksgiving. Sage, sweetgrass, cedar, and tobacco. Those are our 4 savors. Those are our, what we call our medicine. We have it in our bags, we have it in our bundles, we have it at every single place we go, so that we can honor the Creator in any way we can, and allowing the Creator to come into our lives. That is more important than any holiday significance to any one of us Native people. It's all about taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, taking care of your people. You heard the old term, clothe the naked, feed the hungry, clothe the naked. You all heard that one? Yeah. That's what it's about. And the people who thanked us, that is Thanksgiving to us. On that note, starting with my dear friend, Ben. We're in the, okay, so I meant to tell you, so we're into our fascination Halloween. Halloween's a lifestyle for us. You didn't know that? Yeah. So we met at Quant Coffee down on Wilkes-Barre Boulevard, and I do horror movie trivia. I did that last night. But she is an exceptional horror story writer. And we are members of a horror writing club, which tomorrow night. And it's at Quant Coffee if you want to join us and find out how that baby got her head chewed off. Please go ahead. What I would like you to do is with your left hand, just take a pinch of sage, sweetgrass, cedar, and tobacco. You can hold it in your hand for the rest of the ceremony. If you don't want to do it, just get up right now and walk outside and put it on our mother, and then say a little prayer. Say a little prayer for your family who cannot be there to enjoy the beautiful day on Thursday, or Friday, or Saturday. Thanksgiving isn't, to my people, is nailed down to a Thursday in November. We celebrate Thanksgiving almost every single ceremony we do. And while she's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and just say a little bit more, if you don't mind, I'm sorry.
You're keep going.
We have 4 ceremonies throughout the year, major ceremonies. I am Western tribe, but I've been adopted by the Eastern Delaware Nation here. I've been adopted by the Lenape Nation of Pennsylvania. They have taken me in and showed me different ceremonies that I have never experienced before. But the one universal aspect to all of our ceremonies is sage, sweetgrass, cedar, and tobacco. The Anibi, sweat lodge, the prayers that we do, the weeping, crying for visions, all of that is real, universally Native speaking. We still do it here. Native people are in this land. We still talk to each other all the time. We still enjoy each other's company and tell stories, the oral tradition of their people, passed down from generation to generation around the Thanksgiving table, around Christmas. Oh, don't let me get started on Christmas. Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Oh man, there's so many things I can. That's another half an hour discussion. I'll see you folks in December.
Save it now.
However, I just would like you folks to take a pinch of that, and then remember the people that have passed. Your own people, our own people, like-minded individuals of everyone that is sitting in here, including myself. It has been an honor to be here. It is a pleasure to have met most of you folks, and I will be here after to answer any questions you may have or have a little talk. But I understand you folks have a Friendsgiving going on.
We do, afterwards, yes.
So I would ask that you just make a little bit of food, because I can't stick around, I wish I could. Put it on a plate and take it outside. That's the creative portion. If it wasn't for the creator, you wouldn't have anything to say at all. Thank you very much. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Feel my.
So for those of you who don't know, our community garden, we had a community garden this year, and in that garden, we had the three sisters. And they were very successful, actually. They grew quite well. And we're going to actually enjoy some of the fruits of that bounty in the near future. Chimes. Our second song is Fly Like an Eagle. It is a repeat after me Native American chant.
Okay. That's an interesting picture. That's a picture from a local powwow. I also I took Iroquois lessons from I went up and I was at the Onondaga Reservation and they sing different songs. And it's a different style of song. And usually it's sung with a rattle. This song that I'm gonna go ahead and sing to you is a repeat after me song. All right, so we're gonna get everybody involved. This is one I sing for a lot for the kids and they love it too, all right? Let's test it out. Repeat after me.
Repeat after me. All right, fine.
Repeat after me. Fly like an eagle.
Fly like an eagle.
How can you fly like an eagle when you sing like bird? Let's hear it. Let's go. Ready? Fly like an eagle.
Fly like an eagle.
Flying so high.
Flying so high.
Circling the universe.
Circling the universe.
Wings of pure light.
Of wings of pure light.
Oh, she tie, tie.
Oh, witchy tie, tie.
She tie, oh.
Witchy tie, oh.
Oh, she tie, tie.
Oh, witchy tie, tie.
Tie, oh.
Witchy tie, oh.
The earth is our mother.
The earth is our mother.
Let's take care of her.
We must take care of her.
The earth is our mother.
The earth is our mother.
Let's take care of her.
We must take care of her.
Oh, she tie, tie.
Oh, witchy tie, tie.
She tie.
Oh, witchy tie, oh.
Oh, she tie, tie.
Oh, witchy tie, tie.
She tie, oh.
Witchy tie, oh.
I like eagles.
All fly like eagles.
Flying so high.
Flying so high. Circling the universe.
Wings of pure light.
Wings Awakes a pure light. Awakes a pure love.
Oh, witchy tie, tie,
Oh, witchy tie, tie.
witchy tie,
A witchy tie, oh.
oh, witchy tie,
A witchy tie, tie.
tie, oh.
A witchy tie, oh. In things essential, unity. In things circumstantial, liberty. In things yet to be, courage. And in all things, wisdom and love. Postlude? Dream well.
Folks, it's an honor for me to have been here today. You're beautiful people. We are like-minded people. If there was a negative energy in this place at all, I would have turned around and left. It's strange how the native people have a connection like that. But then again, don't you folks? Don't you folks have that same feeling? You walk into a place and you can't be there and you can't stand to be there anymore? Or you walk into a place and say, where has this place been all my life? Where has this person been all my life? When I play this song, I need you folks to just close your eyes. Think about a place in nature that you would call your Zen, your place of remembrance, your place of dreams, your place of love.
Thank you to everyone who made this service possible. Dave White Elk, who was the speaker and the musician. Jill on tech did a great job. Karen, who is our greeter, and today the coffee hour is a potluck. And it was my pleasure to be your convener this morning. As Unitarian Universalists, using your voice is vital to our success as a whole. Use your voice today to fill out the worship committee survey. Tell us what you think about our Sunday services. We use the surveys to inform us at the worship committee on how we are doing and how we can improve. Speaking of using our voice, we now have our social action minute from the social action committee. Jenny.
Like most of you, I haven't been feeling particularly cheerful or even grateful. But I am grateful to Johanna Perez because she gave me the topic for today's social action minute. which I'm going to share with you now. And unfortunately, I have to mention he who shall not be named, because from the time he initially launched his second presidential campaign 2 years ago, President-elect Donald Trump has issued more than 100 threats to investigate, prosecute, imprison, or otherwise punish his perceived opponents. He has publicly and openly expressed support for using government force against domestic political rivals. And 3 days ago, the United States House of Representatives gave the president-elect a very powerful tool to do just that. On Thursday, November 21st, the United States House passed legislation in the form of HB 9495 that would give the United States Treasury Department, which is part of the executive branch, and the Treasury Secretary is appointed by the president, gave the Treasury Department unilateral authority to strip, take away the tax-exempt status of any nonprofit organization that the Treasury Secretary claims supports terrorism. The bill actually creates a whole new category of terrorist supporting organizations defined arbitrarily by the Treasury Secretary as having provided material support to a terrorist organization in the past 3 years. The bill would give any nonprofit that they designated as terrorist supporting exactly 90 days to appeal that decision. That shifts the burden of proof to the nonprofit, which is made even more difficult by the fact that the bill does not even require that the Treasury Secretary disclose the evidence that was used to make that designation. Okay. And even if a nonprofit organization was eventually cleared, the nonprofit would probably risk irreparable damage to their reputation and henceforth their operations. So this would be a dangerous piece of legislation in any administration. It could be used to arbitrarily target any nonprofit, a news outlet, colleges and universities, libraries, humanitarian aid organizations like Oxfam that provide food to the people of Gaza. Even our own congregation, it could target. It expands the sweeping powers of the executive branch, not just for this president, but any president, to stifle political dissent. Basically, to silence the voices of anyone the president perceives as an enemy of the state by simply labeling them as terrorists. This is not our country's first rodeo with an overzealous political member embarking on a witch hunt. You probably know who I'm thinking about. In the 1940s and 1950s, Senator Joseph McCarthy and the House Un-American Un-Activities Committee began a determined campaign to root out suspected communist subversives.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. And amidst all of the intellectuals, the labor leaders, the professors, the students, and the many Hollywood celebrities that ended up on Joseph McCarthy's famous lists that got published in the papers, was one woman, Dorothy Geraldine Blockland. Who is she? My mother. My mother was a quiet, soft-spoken, petite woman who grew up on a farm with no electricity or running water, never had the opportunity to go to college, never once raised her voice. But she ended up on that list because she was guilty of serving as the corresponding secretary for an organization called the International League of Women for Peace and Freedom, who at the time were advocating for nuclear disarmament which made them labeled and my mother labeled. I actually secretly think this was a point of pride for my mother because her name got published in the Philadelphia Inquirer. But I also mention because you can't be complacent or assume that you would not be affected by such a law. And while passage of this law in the Senate is a long shot in the final days of the current Congress, where the Senate enjoys a slim Democratic majority, it does stand a better chance of passing once Republicans control both the upper and the lower chambers. So certainly tell your senator not to support this bill, 9495. Be prepared to speak out. This bill is designed to silence voices. Be vigilant that it does not silence yours or ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. So just so that you know,